Good morning. Everybody's a little crazy. I'm talking to the universe. Make sure that you listen, no? Yo, you're probably wondering why I got my backpack on. I'm on this trail and I'm standing super far away from the camera. Well, in today's video, guys, we're going to be going over the Taylor Ranch area. And believe it or not, the majority of this area was farmland back in the day and once owned by, a lovely couple that came down from Chama to escape the cold winters. It ended up just pretty much developing all the area. All the greenery that you see here, believe it or not, was once never here. They kind of helped bring this place up to what it is today, along to help with some developers. And in this video, we're going to be going over that Taylor Ranch. Let's get right into it. As far as you can see, this never used to be filled with a bunch of trees like this. It was mainly just around the river line. And the Taylors, I can't really give you all the details about Taylor Ranch without giving you a brief history of how it got its name. So, lovely couple from Chama came down in the early 40s, bought over 800 acres of land down here. It all started when Mr. Taylor came down and, doing business with his dad, moving cattle and stuff like that. And he really liked the area. And he was looking to escape the cold winters of Chama. And they didn't move down here until, he met his wife in the late 30s, I believe. They decided to escape the winters, come down here, take up all this land, bring their cattle from Chama, and develop a large homestead. And they really did make a name for themselves here because a lot of the development that you see now, like the Montano Bridge, they pretty much had some type of involvement in it back in the 60s and the 70s, and when they started selling land to the developers that wanted to come and bring more business, more families, and more residential areas to this area that we now call Taylor Ranch. But a couple things that you can expect, and I got to finish having a conversation here with my buddy before we go into that topic, so let me go. Hey, what's going on, guys? I wanted to hop in real quick, just to give you a reminder that that number popping up on the screen is my direct line, and whether you're looking to move down here within the next 30, 60, or 90 days, I'd love to hop on a quick Zoom call with you guys. That way we can really talk about what the next steps are and really make a plan around what it's going to take to get you down to a place like Taylor Ranch. So go ahead and take a screenshot, write down the number, do what you got to do. That way we can get on that call as soon as possible and make that transition down to Albuquerque a lot smoother and a lot faster for you guys. But enough for me. Let's get back into the video. Okay, now that we had that conversation with our bud, these are a few things that you're going to want to expect if you are thinking about moving to the Taylor Ranch area. Now, originally sold as kind of like the ranch style by within the city. Yeah, believe it or not, there's no more ranches here. I mean, some of the homes here that are on bigger pieces of dirt still have the opportunity to have that lifestyle, but it is a lot closer to the river. And of course, you are going to pay a pretty penny for that. And very seldomly do those homes go up for sale because, families have lived there for generations. And I mean, these houses are immaculate. They're beautiful. There are some tucked away communities in there that are master plan, along with some custom homes, which I'm standing actually on the original street based off of the research that I did where the Taylors lived. And now it's called Winter Haven, obviously, right? Because it was their winter haven, escaping Chama and coming down to where life was a little bit more simpler, a little bit easier, and a little bit more realistic during those colder weather times. But other things that you could expect, when they first started this area, they were really trying to bring more families, more businesses, and more things to do on this side of town. They tried to make it a little bit more upper class, and around that time, they just could not hit the mark. I don't know if money was an issue or whatever the case was, but nowadays they have all of that with 2 shopping centers, grocery stores, gyms, breweries, and all that stuff. And this area is a little bit more family orientated, and you'll tell, especially once you start heading up Montano and start going through more of the residential areas, you are going to see bigger parks like the Santa Fe Village Park, Mariposa Park, and they are really community focused because they have different amenities. They got like horseshoes, little league fields, dog parks, all that stuff there just for families to get out of their house and go enjoy. And it's also very walkable too. So if you want to walk around here, I mean, I've seen a few people just come through all the paths that are along these shopping centers and, pretty nice people saying hi, good morning, all that stuff. Don't know if that's something that you're into, but you can guarantee that you are going to enjoy getting outside, especially with all the greenery that's in the area, and just getting along that Bosque Trail is just going to be bar none. All right, guys, now I'm hanging out at Mariposa Park, and I'm here just to kind of give you guys a little bit of detail exactly on why people are moving to this side of town. And it's always been like that. A lot more people are wanting to get here just because of the different amenities that they offer. Now, I'm sitting at Mariposa Park, and this park is massive. They got 2 big ponds. I don't know if there's any fish in there. Try your luck. I'm not going to, but I did see some fishing lines in the water. But other than that, this park has 3 little league fields, horseshoe pits, and areas to have a picnic and a small playground. But for majority, it is going to be a huge grassland. It's right next to LBJ. The kids are doing their PE track class out here. So, I mean, if I would have went to this middle school, I would have been just so thrilled just to be going to run this track. I wouldn't have been so happy to be running, but to be running in a field like this is just going to be awesome. And there's a ton of people walking their dogs, having conversations, and really hanging out. So I'm guessing that this is kind of like the local hot spot. But other than this area, you are looking at the Santa Fe Village, and that park is massive too. For whatever reason, it is right along Coors, or not Coors, Unser, I'm sorry. And that park has a dog park, 3 major fields. The library's tucked up in there, the community library, and it's conveniently placed along Unser, so you really have no choice but to pass it. And anytime you pass through there, you'll see all the people just kind of commingling in that area. And, you know, this area, the style of home, it's very unique. You're looking at a mixture of Southwest-style homes with modern farm style as well, and then you're looking at contemporary-style houses. Now, a ton of people have came through and really kind of put their spin on most of the properties up here, especially since they, you know, I'm going to be honest with you, some of them were outdated, but this area are getting bang for your buck because they were situated on bigger lots, and that's what's really attracting a lot more people. Now, aside from these major parks, you are going to be super close to the Bosque Trails and La Boca Negra Canyon, and I highly recommend bringing your sunscreen and a ton of water because there's hardly any shade, so it's very difficult as far as the trail goes. But it's beautiful, right? All that volcanic rocks situating along the petroglyphs area right there is going to bring such a cool vibe, especially when you're driving through there in the evening and the sun is setting. It's super cool, super shaded. I highly recommend that you get, when you come down here, I recommend that you drive down Unser on that side of town. That way you can see exactly what I'm talking about, because there's only so much that I can sell you over this camera, and really the emotion and the vibe of driving in a cool, crisp air late in the evening, watching that sunset come down from that canyon is just, you know, one of those things you can't pay for. Now, aside from that, they also have a ton of amenities on this side. Parks are great, but you also want to do your regular shopping. So they are going to have the Sprouts, the Albertsons, and for fun, for leisure, they are going to have the breweries, boba tea. On the other side of Montana from that shopping center, they're going to have the some other types of restaurants, super bougie meat market. It's a local meat market. I know a ton of people that get some good meat from there, and their steaks are just, you know, bar none. Now, amenities are great. Now, you want to know where the gym is at. One of the bigger gyms is on this side of town, Define Fitness, Riverside. They got a pool, a sauna, wet sauna, and it's very popular. So I recommend that if you are going to live on this side of town, that you be strategic. I used to go to that gym. That's actually kind of where I got my start in the fitness world, was in that gym. And I used to go late at night, an hour before they closed, just because I wanted to make sure that there was nobody there, because after work and before work, there's a ton of people, and you are definitely going to be waiting for a machine. You might even mix up your workout just because you don't want to wait for that person to finish up because you're on a bit of a time crunch. Now, alongside of that amenities kind of thing, the restaurants are going to be all along in those shopping centers. You got Matucci's, you got the Menchie's, and other places up the road like Garcia's. And they also have the Flicks Brew House, which, believe it or not, is going to be one of the only movie theaters in Albuquerque that serves beer. And they brew it there. It's cool. You walk up in there, they have the big still on display, big windows, and it's super awesome to enjoy a nice cold beer while you're watching the newest and latest movie. They got recliners, and they also serve food there. Pretty good food. The chicken wrap is awesome. Highly recommend it. And then if you go up the street, little local secret, there's a Garcia's tucked in this neighborhood right next to Mariposa Park, and it's an express, so you can bet your bottom dollar that a lot of people are going there, and I highly recommend getting them in the rough. All right, guys, mic issue, so I'm just going to hold it in my hand like a microphone, right? Traditionally, And really going into this part here, I'm inside of the truck because obviously it started to get way too hot out there and the sun was starting to come out and really expose all the images. But anyhow, really going into the school system here on this side of town, according to niche.com, the Volcano School District is rated at an A, right? And we all went to school, so we understand what that means, that it's pretty good. A few schools here that I actually want to point out, and number one being the Volcano School District, or Volcano Vista High School, not the whole district, but just the high school itself. That school is one of the newest schools on this side of town, and it was really modeled after Triskel Heritage Academy. They really pride themselves, of course, of college prep and all that stuff. And another school that is like that is Bosque School. I'm going to put up some B-roll here. That way you guys can check it out because it's an awesome school. If you can pay the hefty tuition fee that they charge you a year, you can do all the research yourself on how much they're going to charge you for a kiddo to go to school there. They also have lottery systems and stuff like that. So if you get a kiddo that's smart enough, bright enough, or lucky enough to go to that school, I highly recommend it. Just because it's it's super close to the Bosque. I mean, personally, I would have loved to go to a school like that because they have a bunch of cool things that they do there, from a garden that they started. They got their own pond with fish in there, koi fish, just a plethora of things just to do there within that school there. And I believe that sometimes they'll even head to like the Bosque trails, really give those kiddos an opportunity to get out into the wild, right? To give them an essence of stepping out of the classroom and making them feel rejuvenated because I don't know if I'm going to be a hippie when I get a little older. So if I continue to do these videos 20 years from now, you're going to see me with dreadlocks, a big old beard, just hanging out, namaste, doing yoga and stuff. I don't know. But anyways, all jokes aside, guys, this school district from LBJ bringing out their kiddos to run around Mariposa Park as far as the PE goes. And just in general, this side of town has a lot more professionals living here, commingling within the community. And again, that association is very involved. And a ton of those professionals that live in this neighborhood are a part of that association. So they really give back to the community. Now, I can't leave the most important part of this video out because I'm sure you guys are wondering, like, all that is great, good information, Eli, but really what does it cost to live in Taylor Ranch? And usually when we're selling homes out in that area, we're looking at homes go up for around $390,000. Usually, here's the catch, right? Usually homes sell for more because if you guys remember, like I let you know at the beginning of the video, homes in that area are highly desirable. Now, whether it's in the residential or looking more in the close, luxurious parts of like the River's Edge neighborhoods and stuff like that, homes are selling fast and they're selling for more because they rarely go up for sale because of those long-term residents. Now, when we are talking about people who are renting in that area, for majority, there's not a whole lot of rental properties that go up for rent in that area. And when they do, they are on the more expensive end. So people tend to rent out the apartments that are closer to cores. And they're considered more on the luxury end just because they offer a ton of amenities and they're so close to like the shopping centers and Montano. And they are larger, so they are attracting a lot more families. So it doesn't really feel like you're in a tiny apartment. It really feels like you're in an upscale living area. So if that's what you're thinking about, whether it's a rental property or a house that you're wanting to move into up in Taylor Ranch, you're going to have to pay a little bit more, but it's going to be well worth it. All right, guys, a ton of information that I gave you guys based off of amenities, home prices, cost of living, and kind of a general thing of what to expect, especially if you are thinking about moving to Taylor Ranch. And right now, it is a great time to move into neighborhoods like this because in the next couple of years, it's going to be almost unobtainable to move into a house with a view sitting on what they call the hills, kind of the type of area. But if this is something that you're thinking about and you're looking to move to Albuquerque or Rio Rancho or Taylor Ranch within the next 30, 60, or 90 days, that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. Feel free to take a screenshot, write it down, do what you got to do, and reach out to me and my team. That way we can sit down on a quick call, really go over the different areas and talk about what it's going to take to get you down to an area like Taylor Ranch. But enough for me, guys. I'm going to get onto this run. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of the day. You guys have a good one. Peace.
Watch me sway, darkness falls and we all pray.